In many parts of the world, including Australia, whales frolicking in the ocean are a magnificent spectacle. But any sighting of these giants of the sea should also be a reminder of how close they came to extinction. And of course, humans are to blame for that. Today, most countries condemn the hunting of whales, but not all. Japan, which used to claim it did it for so-called scientific research, withdrew from the International Whaling Commission in 2019 and now openly conducts commercial hunting in its waters. Over the years, 60 Minutes has repeatedly reported on the battle to save the whales, including this 2001 story where legendary correspondent Richard Carleton exposed the grubby backroom deals and standover tactics that drove Japan's whaling agenda.
This is maybe the best whale watching spot in the whole world, and it's right on our own doorstep. Byron Bay in northern New South Wales.
You see them down there? Oh yes, yeah.
You can see the whales up close here because the underwater geography forces them to come in close to the shore as they go on their annual migration from the feeding grounds in the south to the mating grounds in the north.
Estimates are between 3,500 and 4,000 humpbacks every year migrate up and down the east coast of Australia.
What did they get down to as the guess?
As low as between 2 and 500, so they have come back.
2 and 500?
That's a very low number, yeah. That's right on the edge of extinction.
How times have changed. Byron Bay once boasted a whaling station. Now it attracts crowds of whale watchers and scientists like David Payton of Southern Cross University.
This was an animal that appears to have ran into a pack of orcas, and as you can see, it appears to have lost half its tail.
Oh my goodness, yes.
If they're so easy to find, I mean, just simply stand on the point and look, it would be pretty easy hunting.
Oh, they're very easy hunting. I mean, when you consider these animals moved up and down the east coast for thousands and thousands of years before whaling, and then continued to follow their same migration paths, even though their mates were getting harpooned, there didn't seem to be a great change in their migratory path. So they certainly are very easy targets, very easy targets.
It was 1986 when the nations of the world finally agreed on the bleeding obvious. Whalers had gone too far. Extinction was a real possibility. Commercial whaling was banned by international agreement, but the harpoons were not totally silenced. There was a loophole that's been vigorously exploited by Japan, and Australia has been fighting to close it ever since.
It's inside this cavernous meeting room of a nondescript three-star hotel in central London that the fate of many whales in the next 12 months has been decided. This is a meeting of the International Whaling Commission, the body that decides how many the hunters can kill each year. Now that figure is presently set at 0. But the Japanese take 500 a year. That's okay, it's for scientific purposes.
Scientific Committee of the International Whaling Commission is asking actually for data from that region, and we are just responding it.
Joji Morishita is Deputy Director of Japan's Far Seas Fisheries Division. It conducts the so-called scientific research. Every November, a huge Japanese factory ship and 4 catcher boats make a 6-month voyage into the cold Southern Ocean below Australia. They kill about 500 whales.
Mr. Morishita, would you concede that this issue does massive damage to Japan?
No, I don't think so. This is rather beneficial to Japan because we are fighting for the principle of respect for the science and international law.
Look, I find it amazing that you can keep a straight face and at the same time call this scientific whaling.
Well, if you look at the research, the scientific report from Scientific Committee, it is very clear they are praising or commending Japanese research both in quantity and quality.
The Japanese say that the science is valid, and what they're saying is that they need to They need to establish an age profile of the minke whale population.
British cameraman Mark Vautier persuaded, some might say conned, the Japanese into allowing him on board one of their whaling boats, a decision they later very much regretted.
If they can show that there are more younger whales than older whales, for example, then an argument can be made for a return to commercial whaling. And the science is essentially about that.
The research complete, the flensers, or meat cutters, move in. Whale meat is a much sought-after delicacy in Tokyo's fish markets. Here, Japanese science meets Japanese supermarket.
And that's exactly the same for Australians to utilize kangaroo. The Australians are killing more than 3 million kangaroos per year and making it food or kangaroo jerky and selling at the international airport at Sydney. This is sustainable use. And what's wrong with having a sustainable use of whales?
Well, then do that in your own waters, but leave a sanctuary for the rest of the world in the Southern Ocean.
Again, we are not sending to the South Pacific, that's the Antarctic Ocean. And the Antarctic Ocean is one of the most productive oceans, not just whales.
These are truly magnificent creatures. It must be a cultural difference because some in Japan, like Mr. Morishita's boss, see minke whales as cockroaches of the sea. Australia disagrees.
The best scientific advice I've got is that there hasn't been sufficient recovery of minke to allow a commercial take.
The South Pacific Whale Sanctuary warrants the support of this Commission, and I commend the proposal to the meeting.
Our tactic, led by Environment Minister Senator Robert Hill, was to attempt to turn the Southern Pacific Ocean into a national park of the sea by having it declared a whale sanctuary.
Why does Japan fight so tenaciously on this issue when, at the end of the day, only 500 whales are involved?
It can't be economics. 500 whales is obviously insufficient to sustain a commercial whale industry. There's obviously a huge subsidy in that. So what is it all about? I think, again, using the scientific clause, pushing that to the limit, we would say over the limit, is designed to lift the moratorium and reintroduce full-scale commercial whaling.
To achieve that, Japan, it seems, has been dabbling in some dirty politics. Samui Vaiapulu, a member of parliament in Tonga, says the Japanese came to visit last year to talk about whaling and foreign aid.
And when we came to the meeting, on the agenda, it had whaling and Japanese grant as one item. Mixing it like that, I don't think that's the proper way of doing it. They are two different, separate issues.
The Tongan representative says it wasn't just foreign aid being offered, but other freebies as well. An all-expenses paid trip to Japan to attend a fisheries conference.
They'd pay the airfares?
That was the original offer.
And the hotel accommodation?
All expenses.
All expenses. But then when you said whaling and grants, separate agenda items...
That was the end of the Japanese trip ever mentioned.
Isn't it beneath a great country like Japan to engage in this sort of dirty politics?
Again, it's not a dirty politics. Our standing policy is not to connect overseas aid with particular foreign policy, including whaling.
So he's lying?
I think so.
I want to inform him that we in the Caribbean, we do things the proper way.
Japan is also accused of buying votes in the Caribbean.
Antigua and Barbuda.
No.
St. Kitts and Nevis.
No.
Grenada. No.
Perhaps it was just a coincidence, but all 6 of the minuscule Caribbean countries voted in lockstep with Japan and against Australia.
Dominica.
No.
St. Lucia.
No.
Davin Joseph represents a speck in the Caribbean called Antigua.
There are 6 micro-Caribbean countries with a population all up of 500,000 people. You have essentially no interest in whaling economically. You have no interest in the South Pacific. You're all big recipients of Japanese aid, and you make up 50% of those voting against the sanctuary.
Okay.
I mean, that's why it looks as though you've been bought.
I don't itself think it looks that way. That is what is being perpetuated by major media houses and also by international organizations that have the privilege and the resources to spread that propaganda.
Have the Japanese given you any money?
No. They have given aid to our country. Aid that is much appreciated and is much needed.
Would you concede that it at least looks like you're bribing these countries?
I don't think so. We are just extending our research.
When Japan calls a party, who comes to support you? I'll tell you, St. Vincent, St. Kitts, St. Lucia, Grenada, Dominica and Antigua. I mean, 99% of the world have never heard of them.
That's true, but many African countries, and going back...
No, one African country, Guinea, supported you.
And Morocco supported us. So increasing number of countries of the world is now seeing this issue as one of the most important issues. Have some ramifications.
That's just not true, sir. That's just not true. There's not an increasing number of people. The United States, the United Kingdom, France, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Australia, Sweden, Switzerland and Spain say you're wrong.
We have no problem with those countries in other fields, but somehow as long as whaling is concerned, they are always anti-whaling and they ignore science.
Japan has been embarrassed into moving on just one issue, though. When Mark Vautier, the documentary maker, revealed that half the whales Japan kills for science died agonising deaths by electrocution, Japan was shamed into changing its killing procedures. Now the whales that don't die when hit with a harpoon are finished off more humanely with a bullet.
The Japanese agreed to stop the electrocutions voluntarily.
They're pretty angry with you?
Yes, they were pretty angry. Yes, they took me to court.
I suggest to you that Japan has still not recovered its standing in the world, given the crimes of the Second World War. Now, if you take that as a given, I would have thought it was in your own self-interest on such a minor issue to your economy, like whaling, that you attempt to get into the good graces of the world.
Well, actually, it's surprising for me too why this minor issue, so-called minor issue of whaling, is picked up as a large issue by Australia or United States or other places. And we are living with this culture for 2,000 years or 3,000 years, and still many people who like to continue whaling business as long as it's sustainable.
As determined as Australia is to save the whales, Japan remains just as determined to continue the harvest. Their most recent victory at the International Whaling Commission was when they and their 6 Caribbean cohorts carried the day and blocked the proposed South Pacific whale sanctuary.
13 against and 4 abstentions, which means that the proposal fails.
I think anti-whaling is now becoming minority rather than majority.
You feel comfortable, do you?
Yes, because all the science and all the international law is on our side.
We're all on this planet together. We're all one people. I mean, can't we just leave the whales alone?
We have no intention of utilizing depleted species of whales or endangered species of whales. All we are saying is that we like to utilize abundant species only on a sustainable manner, on a limited manner, under international control.